Under the sea, under the sea, under the sea. I say we throw it back. Oh, hi! Welcome to my review of The Little Mermaid. I have done a lot of research on this, and I am here to tell you, without a doubt, that even though The Little Mermaid is a documentary, the film is a direct rip-off of the 1984 film Splash. Splash, of course, directed by Mr. Opie Cunningham, the fairly famous ginger director of that Roger Corman classic, Grand Theft Auto. Most of Ronnie's later films are big piles of nonsense, but everyone gets lucky once. If you make 40 films, you're bound to get one right. This Splash film stars Daryl Hannah, the Hollywood hottie who has a very long list of shitty movies. She's one of those acting chicks that's very nice to look at. You just don't want them to get speaking lines. Ha ha! It also stars the once funny Tom Hanks. At one point, this curly-headed funny man made me laugh and laugh. Nowadays, I want to cry when I hear he's in a film. He is so unfunny now, I wish they would have kept him on that stupid island he washed up on in Castaway with his damn volleyball. By the way, in my professional opinion, the volleyball should have won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor back in 2001, but didn't. The studio got behind Benicio del Toro that year. That's a fact. Look it up. But I'm not here to review Tom Hanks movies. I can't review them anymore. Tom Hanks' lawyer made sure of that with a pesky court order. So let's get back to talking about The Little Mermaid. If you ask me, The Little Mermaid needs to be held under the sea until it stops breathing. My first problem is you have a documentary film that takes place in the ocean, yet we have no SpongeBob! That makes no sense to me at all. Not only is SpongeBob funny, he would have brought some comedy to this underwater death trap. SpongeBob's friends are way more interesting. We don't even get a glimpse of our favorite restaurant, the Krusty Krab. Let alone Bikini Bottoms, which we all know is the capital of the ocean. Even Aquaman will admit that he's a little hard to understand underwater, though. Oh, and the next time you see Aquaman, on land or on water, ask him to give you a hand. Then look at the expression on his face when he tells you no. Ha ha ha! The comic book fans out there will get that joke, even if you video lovers don't. Anyway, back to this movie. But do we see the town of Bikini Bottom in this watery graveyard? No, we don't. Instead, we get an under-designed, over-decorated, fake-looking underwater scene that looks like it belongs in that cheap plastic snow globe James bought his kid when they went on vacation to Florida. The one I accidentally dropped 2 days ago and broke into a million pieces. The snow globe, not the kid. The kid only broke into 2 pieces when I dropped him, but I glued him back together. And now he's blackmailing me, telling me he'll tell his father if I don't pay up. Anyway, back to the movie. The fake plastic-looking city is ruled by the half-dressed dude named King Triton. King Triton, of course, would be the Mr. Krabs had this been in the SpongeBob universe. This King Triton is an overbearing turd of a father who looks at his flock of half-dressed teenage fish daughters whom he forces to sing for their suppers by entertaining their fellow fish people. When King Triton fails to force his 16-year-old red-headed fish daughter Ariel to sing for her supper, he gets really pissed off. The king follows Ariel to her secret girl room, breaks all of her souvenirs from the surface world that she has collected over her life, and forbids her to poke her head above the waves and breathe air, just water. That's child abuse, if you ask me. You can't breathe water. I know this from first-hand experience. James held me underwater for 10 minutes once trying to wash my mouth out with soap. And we all know how well that turned out. Anyways, King Triton's overbearing parenting skills does the exact opposite and convinces his red-headed fish daughter Ariel that she really does want to grow legs and leave home, so she can stop this handsome prince she rescued from drowning. His prince name is Eric. No first name, just Eric. Which she does with the help of the next in the lineup of stupid, overrated cast members, the villain, Ursula. Ursula is some sort of underwater witch, a white-haired octopus with lipstick and blue eyeshadow. And sings. I know, right? No self-respecting octopus would be caught dead wearing lipstick. Who in their right mind would be caught dead wearing blue eyeshadow? Whatever. Back to Ursula. Wow, what a looker. She reminds me of what could have happened if Cruella de Vil and the Goodyear blimp hooked up and had a baby. Ursula is fat, loud, ugly, and an utter pain in the ass. And of course she sings too. Ursula, the witch, is here so she can cut some sort of voodoo deal with Ariel, who has agreed to trade her voice and be silent for most of the movie. Woohoo! Ariel agrees to this so she can grow legs and stalk that handsome prince who lives in a castle by the sea. No pineapples for this guy. And of course she has to kiss him by the end of the third day. Usual dumb fairy tale kind of stuff. The kind of stuff you find in one of those dumb Disney fairy tales, not a documentary. Ursula hatches an evil plot to get back at the king for some reason that we aren't told and really don't care about. Although I have a very soft spot for evil, I just think the motivation of this sea cow could have been more thought out. Could be she wants to get back at Triton for not validating her parking or something. Who knows? Oh, and Ariel, the red-headed land-walking wannabe, she tromps through this adventure with the help of three very irritating friends. Sebastian the crab, Flounder the flounder, and Scuttle the seagull. Let's start with that little yellow and blue dipshit Flounder, who is in fact a flounder. I for one would have had a much better time watching Ariel and Patrick Star pal around. Then there's the ever-wise Sebastian the crab. What a pain in the crustacean this thing is. This red Jamaican pop star throws Ariel under the proverbial water taxi so that King can spy on his daughter. Class act indeed. Definitely a direct ripoff of Squidward. And one of the most annoying characters ever written. And he sings too, and forces every fish within 5 miles to sing along and accompany him on a soundtrack because he's good buddies with the king. And for some reason, these documentary filmmakers seem to think we can't get enough of this stupid talking seagull Scuttle. The less about this forking character, the better. To summarize, The Little Mermaid is a documentary about Ariel, your basic pain-in-the-ass mermaid teenager seeking attention because Daddy is not wasting every moment with her. After all, he does have a kingdom to run, you spoiled bitch. To further summarize, simple-minded Ariel is tricked by the overweight slime ball of a villain and decides it's not a good idea to listen to her dad. She falls in love with the prince and is foiled by another chick. Wait a minute! Overbearing father, evil queen type villain, fairy tale romance, happy ending. This story has Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty written all over it. This mermaid movie sounds an awful lot like a Disney film. And a chick flick Disney film, the worst kind. The mouse must have really been pissed off at somebody for ripping off his franchise. Pissed off enough for him to want to sue.
Excuse me. Once again, as usual, you've got everything wrong and totally screwed up.
What the hell are you talking about?
Number one, The Little Mermaid is not a documentary film, and it's not a direct ripoff of Ron Howard's Splash. The Little Mermaid is a Disney animated film that was produced and released by Disney in 1989.
Number 2, The Little Mermaid is a fairy tale, and it's set in its own world of make-believe. A world where there is no SpongeBob or Aquaman. No SpongeBob or Aquaman! Number 3, The Little Mermaid is a much admired and much beloved modern day animated classic, and that's a fact. Number 4, it's also established that Ron Howard, who played characters named Opie Taylor and Richie Cunningham on the Andy Griffith Show and Happy Days, literally grew up in the film industry and made the most of his on-screen and behind-the-scenes experience to become a famous, talented, Academy Award-winning director. His first film as a director was Roger Corman's production of Grand Theft Auto, and of course Ron went on to do numerous things, producing and directing countless classic films that still amaze and amuse us, unlike you, who do neither. Oh, and Splash, technically it was a Disney film too. It was the first film released by Disney's Touchstone banner.
And if all this seems familiar, it's because fairy tales have been around for hundreds of years with the same plot. Damsel in distress. Handsome prince saves her. They fall in love. Something comes up to keep them apart. Love conquers all. And in this case, the girl saves the guy. It's a variation on the same theme. Understand?
Yep, I finally got it. The Little Mermaid was the latest Disney chick flick. Like Disney needed an excuse to add another Disney princess to a 200 or so they already have standing around doing nothing. You know what really frosts my orange-colored ass? Those useless excuses they call the Disney princes. These turds really have it made in the shade. They don't do a damn thing all day except lounge around, smell flowers, look pretty, and collect the residuals from all the chicks' work. Wait a minute. The chicks do all the work? Now it finally makes sense. Goodness has got nothing to do with the secret of their success. Disney princess, welcome to the ranks of Disney villains. Ha 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 ha! Love it! Splash, SpongeBob, Aquaman. How could you get it so wrong? And where did I go wrong? I remember I went wrong the day I took him out of the box. And I may have held him underwater a little too long too. Oh well.